This week on football, Wayne Bridge steps into the ring with KSI. George Abbott take a bow.
Oh, get off!
Ollie Watkins ends Arsenal's Premier League title hopes again. Proper tackle on fan favourite James McLean. The worst Manchester United side in history.
We need to survive now. So we are being the worst team maybe in history of Manchester United.
And not happy with a familiar story.
Familiar story? What are your assessments of that performance, please?
Familiar story?
Well, in terms of defeat.
Okay, great way to start an interview.
And Clivert gets a hat-trick at St James's Park.
They deserve it, man!
Hello everyone, welcome to This Week on Football. It is me, Alex. If you're listening to the show currently on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, a 5-star rating helps us loads. If you are watching, the few of you that do come across and watch on YouTube, a like or a subscribe helps us a lot as well. If you haven't already followed me, I am on Alex Goalposts on TikTok, which is still available for UK users. So good news. If you're from America, then you're just going to have to settle for Instagram. It's at Goalpost TV. This week, we have got my weekend treble. I'll be doing our team of the week as well, which is all the players that I've only seen live in 90 minutes. I'll be giving you my 1 to 20 of best Premier League teams to watch. And I'll be doing a quick check on our day one fantasy teams. But first, kids. And not in a weird sense, although you probably didn't think that it was going to be weird if I hadn't said that. Children. Kids from academies I'm talking about. We're doing a piece on kids from academies. It's not weird. There's a lad at Manchester United at the moment. And I think every United fan knows who he is. And I think every United fan is keeping a close eye. If you do not support United, this guy is called Chiedo Obi Martin. Now, Arsenal fans will recognise that name because we nabbed him off you just this year. He's come into Manchester United's academy. He's currently playing in the under-18s. And he is impressing. This guy is already 6'2" at just 17 years old. He looks massive. He looks like an adult amongst kids. He has got a fantastic first touch, great ball skills with the ball at his feet, which is usually not something you associate with a big man. He's got pace. He can run in behind, but he can win things in the air and keep the ball. He almost looks like the perfect striker that Manchester United need right now. We are going slow with him at the moment. I think Man United are monitoring, obviously, his progress. And Adam Lawrence, the coach for the under-18s, is probably looking at him and trying to keep a lid on things. Because what a massive help he is in this side at under-18s level. The 21s and above probably need a player like him. And it is something that I think United fans tend to get a little bit carried away with. And I'm going to admit that myself. That United players that come through the academy tend to do pretty well. We have got a good history, particularly in the 90s and earlier, and obviously 2000s. Marcus Rashford, probably the latest one to come through and really impress. I think there is massive potential for this lad. I'm not going to stick on Man United's academy too long because I don't want to be biased, and I actually do want to talk about possibly, arguably, maybe the current best producer of talent in England, and that's Man City's academy. There's a few lads at Man City, and actually, by the way, with United, there is a lad that I have looked at. It's James Scanlon. He is a player which is kind of unheard of. He's already scored and played for Gibraltar at international level. So he's been capped by his country and scored already before even making a first team appearance. So keep an eye on him. But realistically, City, there's a few players in this City academy, and I've seen clips and I've seen highlights, and there's something special about them. And the great news is they are English. And I think England will have a lot to thank for Man City going forward, because some of these players are outrageous, and some of the players that City Academies produced already for England, I think, have been tipped and are on their way to massive success. The guy that I did want to say quickly as well was City's Divine Mukasa. He looks like a real talent. Man City took him off West Ham, I think a couple of seasons ago, and he's impressing at that level. Look, it's going to be really difficult for him to get through in this Man City team because of the level of talent that's already there. But Pep Guardiola this season in particular is not shy about picking up a player from the academy and putting him straight into the starting lineup. You know, we've seen this with O'Reilly early in the season. We saw this with Oscar Bob not 2 seasons ago, a season ago. We've also seen it with Rico Lewis of late as well. There's something about this Man City academy that when you get in there, there is a level of performance that you need to hit. And I think those players are now being pushed and propelled above other players at their level, because Man City have the expectancy that's up here and everyone else kind of has to keep chase. We see that in the Premier League. We see that with the level of football that they play, their close touch, first touch, everything is immaculate, and you need that to play for this Man City side. So in terms of technical ability, Man City is really producing some players. But the real talent that I want to talk about is actually the son of Emile Heskey. Yes, Premier League legend Emile Heskey has not just one, but 2 sons coming through Man City's academy that look tipped to be the next big things. It is scary. And do you know what? Neither of them remind me of Heskey at all. Jayden Heskey is the older of the 2 brothers, and he's currently in Man City's under-21 team. The one I'm looking at is Regan Hesy. He's 16 years old, plays nothing like Emile Heskey whatsoever. Looks quick, looks sharp, looks dynamic, great with the ball at his feet, can shoot from long range, can get in behind defences. There's something about this lad. And, you know, when you see a 16-year-old tearing it up at under 18 level, and nobody scored more goals than this kid this year at that level, you start thinking this is someone special. Man City is probably the best place for him to be currently, and I think only Barcelona's La Masia can really rival Man City's academy currently. You look at the players that have come through Man City, the academy graduates, and I'll list some: Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Jeremy Frimpong, Jamie Gittins, Michael Elise, Morgan Rogers, Romeo Lavia, Rico Lewis, Brahim Diaz, Jadon Sancho, Felix Nemecha, Adrian Rabiot, Liam Delap, Alex Garcia, Seko Fofana, Kieran Trippier also came through Man City's academy. So there's an abundance of talent coming through. And you've got to say, if you're a father of a young lad currently playing at sort of under 15, 16s level, if you had the chance to put your kid anywhere, you'd choose Man City's academy. Regan Hesy, though, you know, I've picked him out. He's been at City since the age of 8, and I think a lot of things have been expected of him. Again, when he's that young, I think a lot of top teams will keep a lid. They'll try not to let him get too far ahead of himself, but already at sort of under 21s level, he's impressed, just like his brother Jayden. I think there's a Heskey brother combination that is going to be a household name again amongst families in the UK. Football families in particular will remember Emile Heskey of the old Premier League days. I think the Heskeys are making a comeback. Right, I wanted to do my 1 to 20 of Premier League teams that are the best to watch. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a quick brief team of the week. In goal is Ederson. Now, these are players that I've seen live this week, so I've not included anyone that I've just seen highlights of. Ederson, I think, was the only player to keep a clean sheet who was a goalkeeper. I can't remember watching another goalkeeper keep a clean sheet this week, so Ederson had to go in there. Also, what a goalkeeper. Right back, Jules Koundé. Jules Koundé scored and made the run of a out-and-out centre-forward against Getafe this weekend. It was crazy. And if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. The run is fantastic. He nips in, manages to get the goal. That's his 3rd goal. And he's also got 7 assists already this season, Jules Koundé, in all competitions. I think Getafe played really well in that game. But Barcelona, I just feel like when they've got... I said it last week, when they got Lamine Yamal, they just look a better side. Getafe were phenomenal in stopping Barcelona from being their best, their usual best. But I think when I watch Jules Koundé, to be a right back and make the difference in a game like that, I think that's massive. And he had to go in there. Centre back, Pau Kubasi. I have never seen a player this good for that long before reaching the age of 18. It's absolutely insane. Pau Kubasi is probably the best 17-year-old centre-half I've ever seen in my life. He's about to turn 18, and I think he's the most accomplished, well-rounded centre-half I've seen at that level ever. I couldn't believe it when I first watched him and I hadn't heard anything about him last season. To think that he was 16 years old is absolutely insane. Then he had a great season. He had a great start to this season as well at just 17 years old. He looks like he's played there for 20, 30 years of his career. He's almost the most reliable one of the two centre-halves. He's played with Inigo Martinez a lot, but that Barca side has kept a lot of clean sheets. They've been fantastic. The guy is unbelievable on the ball. He has a nous, knows where to be. In terms of blocking shots, I swear he's on the end of everything. And Barcelona do concede quite a bit of chances because of the way they play. They flood players forward. They play a high line. And Kubasi is obviously expected to do a lot. He's got that pace to get back. He's got that kind of technical ability to play out from the back as well. He's just an all-round top player and a future top centre-half if he isn't already. Alongside him, the person who I think is going to be the next best centre-half in world football is Dean Howson. I cannot see how this kid doesn't become a world-class centre-back. I've talked about it before, but when you see the level that this guy's playing at right now, at 18 years old, at 19 years old, coming into the Premier League, one of the most physical leagues, one of the most dynamic leagues, and probably one of the most taxing on a centre-back, he looks like he can do it at any level. Honestly, I could put this kid in Barcelona's team. You could put this kid in Real Madrid's team, and I don't think he'd look out of place. I think he's that good. I would probably say maybe at the end of this season, and he's going to take big money to take him off Bournemouth. If Bournemouth don't get European football, I think a lot of teams will be able to tempt him away. I mean, we're talking about £100 million centre-back, I think, at this point. Left-back alongside him, I thought was really good as well this week, is Milos Kerkez. Obviously got the goal, but I think between him and Dean Howson, they stopped Isak and kept him really quiet. It's one of the quietest I've seen Isak all season, and I think them two were a massive part in that. Bournemouth again, central midfield, Justin Kluivert. I know he's playing attacking, kind of that centre attacking midfielder for them, but scored a hat-trick. Absolutely mad that Kluivert's come to St James's Park and scored a goal, and it's not Patrick, it's his son. How am I old enough to see Patrick Kluivert score for Newcastle and then his son come and score a hat-trick at St James's Park against Newcastle? Don't know. But looks like a real player, Justin Kluivert. You've got to give it to him. 25 years old, the weight of the world on him with a son-father kind of relationship. You know, you don't normally see the son of a great player go on to do all that great, but I think he has. I think notably players like maybe Kasper Schmeichel's done really well. That's a point. Think of a father and son that has gone on to do really well. Obviously, Ashley Young's son is at Peterborough. Jamie Carragher's son is currently at Wigan. But Justin Kluivert must be the one who's playing at the highest level and the closest level to what his father did. He looks like a Premier League player and looks like he belongs. He also looks like he could possibly play for a big side. And this is the thing with Bournemouth, as much as you want to praise them and say how great they've been, which they have, and down to Iraola, obviously. But if they don't make Europe this season, a lot of people will be looking to take their players. Dean Howson, Milos Kerkez. There's been talks about Zabani leaving. There's talks of obviously Justin Kluivert at the moment. Semenyo leaving. It's like, how many players are they going to be able to keep hold of? I don't know. Central midfield alongside him, Scott McTominay. Imagine thinking that you are too good of a club for Scott McTominay and then being 14th in the Premier League, 15th in the Premier League, 13th in the Premier League. Scott McTominay has gone to Serie A, and he's not just doing well, he is currently sitting top of Serie A. He's going to win a title with Napoli, and Man United and half of Man United fans were buzzing to see him go. It's absolutely ridiculous. The amount of times I'd have to talk to people, United fans and obviously fans of other clubs as well, to tell them what a player we had in Scott McTominay. We just needed to use him right. There was plenty of potential. I've seen him play great games against really good opposition. I remember games against PSG in the Champions League. I remember games against Barcelona. And him, he's holding his own. And against big teams in the Premier League, scoring goals, coming up with late winners. The guy is an incredible talent. And it's so unfortunate that we couldn't appreciate him, because Napoli genuinely laughed at us when they went and signed him. The Napoli fans were thinking, how have we just gone and got one of your players who's this level so easily? And obviously Scott McTominay probably didn't feel the love from United fans, and I can see why. He was United through and through, and we let him go, and it's so disappointing to see the sort of players that have still remained at United and Scott McTominay's gone. But another goal for him this week, and another top performance is Napoli winning again in a massive game, and Scott McTominay scoring a really crucial goal. Finishing off that central midfield, I think this guy is right on the brink of being able to be called world class. I think Pedro is the next best midfielder in the world. I think people have already cottoned on to how good Pedro is, obviously, over the last 2 years. You see a player come through the academy at a young age, sort of 21, 22, and you think, yeah, look, he's got this silky touch, he's got that lovely flair in midfield, can pass the ball, can receive the ball on the half turn, can create chances, the things that you expect of a Barcelona academy product. But this guy looks levels above what's come through Barcelona in a long time. And I'm talking the likes of Gavi, and obviously players that have come through, Iniesta, Xavi, players that look unbelievable. I think he could reach that level. I really think Pedro could be on the same level as a Xavi and Iniesta, the greats, because he can do everything. The way he passes the ball, his vision is like no other midfielder in the world at the moment. Maybe only Kevin De Bruyne. And he plays a lot deeper a lot of the time. He receives the ball a lot of the time deeper. Or if Barcelona are maintaining possession and really pushing forward, he'll receive the ball on the edge of the box and make those cute little passes in behind. He's phenomenal at it. And I don't think there's a better prospect in terms of the next best midfielder in the world than Pedro. I think he's unbelievable. Right wing, Amad Diallo. I said at the start of the season, this is his season. This is the season where Amad Diallo really takes a hold of this Man United side and I think becomes the best player in this United side. I think he has been over the last few weeks. He was stifled under Erik ten Hag, ridiculous times under Erik ten Hag, playing Anthony over him, playing, I think Amari Forson was starting over Amad Diallo. He never saw the talent that Amad Diallo has, and I think every United fan knew he had. It was a weird time, and Amad Diallo now obviously getting a run at right wing back at right wing. I think he can play anywhere across the front, and showing that he's got the discipline to play in a full back position and still score a hat-trick is madness. Left wing, Jeremy Doku. Ipswich, a tough day for Ipswich. They doubled up with Ben Johnson and Ben Godfrey, sometimes tripled up with Mari Hutchinson. But Doku has this way of still getting past you. It's so hard to mark him. It's so hard to get close to him because you get anywhere near him, he just takes a little touch and he's past you in a second. The thing with Doku, I think, is you want more. You just want more output. You want more goals. You want more assists. But he got a goal and an assist this week, and I thought he was the best left winger I've seen this week. And finally, finishing off, striker Ollie Watkins says it's the best he's felt all season. Obviously, Ollie Watkins is in that battle with John Duran on who's going to play centre forward for Aston Villa. Massive bid has come in from West Ham for John Duran, which I think will make Ollie Watkins feel a little bit better. But it's great to have that competition in those areas. The thing you don't want to see, I think, is where one player plays 1 week, the other player plays the other week. Particularly for strikers, they want to play consistently and they want to have every chance of getting the most amount of goals they can. Ollie Watkins said it in his interview this week that he's targeting that 20-goal haul that Gabby Ogbonlahor scored for Villa all those years ago. And if a player like Gabby Ogbonlahor can score that many goals, then surely Ollie Watkins can score more in a Villa side that is probably one of the best I've seen in a long time. Right, let's do my 20-1 best teams to watch in the Premier League. So, my theory is, and it's a little bit different, I'm thinking, what team would you want to watch if it was a Monday night fixture? If you saw the teams come up and you saw one team come up, what is that team that you want to watch? Now, to be fair, a lot of this does come down to whether the team is playing at home or playing away. So I'm assuming all of these teams are playing at home. I'm taking into account goals, drama, personnel, so players, individuals that I'd want to see, unpredictability as well. So this is my 1 to 20 of Premier League teams I'd most like to watch. I'm going to go in reverse order. Number 20, the team I do not want to watch the most in the Premier League is Everton. They are the worst team by a mile, and obviously Sean Dyche has left and David Moyes has come in, so maybe it'll be a little bit different, but they have scored the second least amount of goals of any team in the Premier League so far this season, and their games have contained the fewest amount of goals of any fixture in the league this season. Those are stark numbers, and also, do you know what? There's just no one exciting in that team. I like Iliman and Dye, and maybe that's as close as you'll get, but even then, I'm not having it. The worst team in the league to watch by far. Number 19, Liverpool. Liverpool are the worst team to watch in the league, apart from Everton. And do you know what? When a Liverpool team comes on and there's a game on, save me a couple of hours. Save me a couple of hours. I won't watch. Just write down 2-0 and we'll be done. 7 times Liverpool have won 2-0 this season, and we're only like halfway through the season. It's boring, and I'm not saying that's because they're bad, it's because they're so good. So don't complain and moan and cry in the comments. Fulham, number 18. Fulham, very good actually this season, and they've got some lovely players. But I always think about, if I'm looking at the fixture, who do I want to see? Monday Night Football. This week, Fulham host Bournemouth at Craven Cottage. I don't want to see it. They make other teams seem boring. And yeah, just not for me. Fulham, if I see them come up, maybe not. I'll go and watch something else. 17, Crystal Palace. I actually had high hopes for Crystal Palace this season. I thought with Oliver Glasner's run at the end of last season, looks great. I think losing Michael Olise was massive. I don't think they replaced him. They got some good players and obviously putting together a bit of a run of form, but Palace, nah. 16, I've gone West Ham. Normally, I'm a big West Ham fan. I like watching them play and I love Jared Bowen. But apart from that, I think Kudus has been up and down this season. They've conceded quite a few goals, which is why they're not lower on this list, but they've been pretty poor in front of goal this season and yeah, quite disappointing. Graham Potter obviously now in. Maybe that'll change. I think Lopetegui was miles off it, to be honest. 15, Ipswich. I like what Ipswich are doing, and I love the manager. I think Kieran McKenna is a great manager, and what he's done with Ipswich is fantastic. They're doing what they need to do at the moment. I think this is the thing with Ipswich. Whereas a lot of teams come up, they're dynamic, they just chuck every player forward and say, we're going to play this way in the Premier League, the same way we did in the Championship. I don't think Kieran McKenna's quite doing that. I expected him to keep a very similar style of play. I think he's doing it to a certain extent, but I don't think he's got the personnel. I don't think he's got the players, and that just makes it quite difficult to watch sometimes. 14, Leicester. If Vardy's not playing, there's no drama and there's not much else. There's plenty of goals, to be fair, with Leicester, but that's usually them conceding, and it's never really great goals. I feel like Leicester usually concede from mistakes. I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy, as much as I want to see him do well, I don't think it was the right appointment. I don't think sacking Steve Cooper was the right thing to do, and I don't think the Leicester fans actually deserve anything. And the more I think about it, and the more you see of Leicester fans, Leicester won a title with Claudio Ranieri and ended up booing him off the pitch the next season. They had Steve Cooper, who did really well to kind of maintain a steady level in the Premier League to start with, and they're booing him off the pitch. I just don't think you can please him. 13, Man City. Man City, honestly, would be right at the bottom of this list if they weren't doing so badly this season. If Man City are on form, they are number 20, worst team to watch in the Premier League by a distance. The only thing that keeps them together is occasionally I don't mind watching a nice De Bruyne assist. Otherwise, 2-3, 4-0. It's the least fun I've ever had watching football is when I watch Man City just demolish teams. Boring. 12, Arsenal. Not much to Arsenal. And I think they're brilliant. And I think Arteta's done a really good job. But if Saka's not playing, I'm bored. If Ødegaard's not on it, I'm bored. And this whole dark arts thing, you'd think it'd be fun. It's not. It's boring. It's annoying. It's frustrating to watch. And then all the moaning after the games, yeah, boring. Number 11, Nottingham Forest. As much as I love what Nottingham Forest are doing this season, they would be higher up. I just think there are teams that are more unpredictable than them. And whereas that might be a negative in terms of how many points you get. It's a positive in, I don't know. I feel like with Forest, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a really solid defence. I'm getting a counter-attacking team. I'm getting Alanga running through on the break, and I'm getting maybe Chris Wood tapping it in from 6 yards. That's kind of how I feel. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad side to watch. I've actually got them at 11th. I think they're all right, but kind of know what I'm going to get. Number 10, let's go into the top 10 teams to watch in the Premier League. Southampton, 50 goals conceded already. They're always ready to take a battering, and I kind of love that about them. I love watching Tyler Diblin play. I think there's always an element of Southampton where they will give it a really good go, and that's whether it was under the previous manager or the current manager. Russell Martin obviously suffered for that, but now the new manager's in and they still concede a load of goals. It does feel like there's a little bit more stability to them, but they're good fun to watch. And if Southampton are playing someone and you've captained someone in your fantasy team against them, great to watch. Number 9, Brighton. Wasn't really thinking Fabian Herzler was going to come in and do as well as he is, but he is doing really great. And they've got some lovely individuals. Carlos Baleba is one of my favourite players in the Premier League this season. Kara Matoma is always a great watch as well down that wing. Pedro, some great players. And I think Brighton have an argument to say that they have and do sign the coolest players in the Premier League. Players out of nowhere that I've never heard of come into the Premier League and all of a sudden they're 50, 100 million pound players. So yeah, they're great to watch. At number 8, Aston Villa. If it's a Villa Park, under the lights, what a great watch. Villa, I think, a little bit different this season. Not loads of goals in their games, but I always feel like watching players like Morgan Rogers on the ball, even Jacob Ramsey, Leon Bailey when he plays, players that are quite dynamic and direct as well, will run with the ball. Ollie Watkins in behind, John Duran coming on to score an absolute screamer from nowhere. They're a great side to watch, you've got to admit. And I think when Tielemans is on it, Tielemans is a top player to watch as well. Number 7, Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth have been brilliant this season, and I love watching almost every single player on the pitch, even down to Ryan Christie in midfield. I do absolutely love this Bournemouth side, and what Iraola's doing is arguably gonna win him manager, coach of the season. He probably won't. I mean, it's going to be, it's probably going to be Arne Slot, to be honest with you. But I think Bournemouth, unbelievable. With the budget they've got, with the players they've got, the stadium size, just everything about that club feels like proper English football, and it's brilliant to see. Number 6, Brentford. Brentford, goals, goals, goals. Turn on Brentford, what am I going to see? Immediately a goal within the first 30 seconds. It's great. Great fun. I think there's been more goals in Brentford games than any other this season. 79 goals in 22 games? That's outrageous. That can't be true. Brentford, yeah, speaks for itself. Number 5, Chelsea. I think with Chelsea, why I like watching Chelsea so much is direct wingers, players with quality who can pass between lines. I love watching Lavia play when he plays. I love watching Moises Caicedo this season. I think he's been fantastic. But mainly Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer, he could play for anyone and I'll turn on and watch. He's that good. Nicholas Jackson's always good entertainment. And like I said, direct wingers, Madueke down the right, Pedro Neto, Jadon Sancho. They've been really good this season, Chelsea. And yeah, they're a great watch always, particularly when it's against a big side. Number 4, Wolves. Wolves are brilliant. They are box office. Mateus Cunha aside, and he's a brilliant watch, it just always feels like they'll either score 4 goals or concede 6. You never know what you're going to get with Wolves, and this is what I mean, pure unpredictability with Wolves. You never know what's going to happen. Love watching them, and yeah, number 4 on the list has to be. Number 3, we're in the top 3. Third best team to watch in the Premier League is Man United, and I'm saying that not as a Man United fan. I'm taking my Man United cap off, top off, and saying they are brilliant to watch because they are unpredictable as f***. You never know what you're going to get from them. They'll either win 3-0 at home or get beat 3-0 at home by someone's shit. It's madness. And if you are an opposing fan or if you're just a neutral, you'll love watching Man United get beat, and you get to do it pretty much every week. Second, Newcastle. St. James's Park, Alexander Isak. That's all I need to say. What a side. Anthony Gordon's fantastic, obviously, and they've got some great players. Bruno Guimaraes, lovely to watch. Love watching Joe Linton in midfield as well. But St. James's Park trumps most of it. I think any game that's at St James's. The crowd gets behind them, particularly this season where they're really pushing for something. Yeah, they're a great watch. Number one team to watch in the Premier League is Tottenham. Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham is the most entertaining football side I think I've seen maybe ever. So many goals, so many mistakes, so many great goals from the other end. They've got players with quality all over the pitch, but they love conceding. There's drama. You never know what you're going to get from Ange after the game as well. If Tottenham are playing, I am watching 100%. I'll never miss a Tottenham game while Ange is there. I think they are unbelievable to watch. Whether you think that's good or whether you think that's bad, as a neutral, fantastic. Tottenham, the best team in the Premier League to watch by a mile. Right, let's do my weekend treble. Guys, I did think about doing the day one fantasy team and just checking in, but Liam Edgar's going to win it. I think we're at that point where if nothing really changes in January in the day one league, I think Liam is going to win it. And that's the £100, remember. Joe is a little bit far off. Brandon had a good shout with the Isaac run. Vince is falling away. I think Liam's going to win it. Chris Wood. I think he's the only guy out of anyone in the league who chose Chris Wood at the start of the season, and Chris Wood cannot stop scoring. Weekend treble. Right, this is where I pick three selections that add up to an odds of around 2 to 1. £10 on, usually around £30 back. The idea is that by the end of the season, we'll be in profit if you back it every week. So far, we are up. We lost £10 last week, and we're on a bad run, but we are still up by £66.51 this season. So it's still going really strong. Last week, Tranmere won. That was one of them. Barcelona got held by Getafe 1-1 after going 1-0 up. You cannot believe that. And Bolton managed to give a point to Cambridge, who hadn't won in 6 games. I think they'd lost, actually, their last 6 games. Forget hadn't won. I think they hadn't won in like 15, but they had lost 6 games in a row in Bolton at home. Yeah, 2-2. Can't believe it. Anyway, this week's going to win. It's going to be fine. First selection, Newcastle. Newcastle to win away at Southampton. Second selection, Leipzig. Leipzig versus Leverkusen. Over 2.5 goals in that game. And third selection is Benfica to win away at Casapia. £10 on gets you £28 back. Nice, solid treble this week. Back it. Put a tenner on. Win £28 back. And then we'll, buy yourself a couple of beers or a pizza at the weekend. Right, guys, stick with me this season. I am making you money, technically. I'll be back next week, next Wednesday, and every Wednesday for the rest of the season.